Welcome to a very exciting Knot of the Week here on ITS Tactical. Today we are going to tackle building your own fast rope. And this is something that looks pretty complicated. I know many of you have probably seen a fast rope out there. I know I was intrigued when I was in the military on how they wove those fast ropes, and I took it upon myself to actually sit down and learn how to do it. It's really not that complicated. It's definitely a kick in the ass, and you'll definitely spend some time doing it, which I recommend getting a buddy and having him help you, which I'll explain in a minute. But essentially all this is a 4-strand round braid. And this video and this whole little mini-series I'm making a fast rope is going to be split up into 3 different videos. Today we're going to tackle actually weaving this 4-strand round braid, and then we'll get into how to make an eye splice in this thing, as well as a back splice on the end. So you really have a complete package all in one little fast rope here. Now, just to give you a heads up on what I'm using here, this is 8 strands. You can see the cores here. Now, this is Blue Water Assault static line, and this stuff is pretty pricey. I'm not going to lie to you. I probably spent a little over $200 for 8 strands of 35 feet of this. Actually, I was trying to figure out how to do this thing in the first place, and got 4 sections of 70 foot, and was going to actually kind of build in an eye into this thing. My plan was to have a 30-foot fast rope, which didn't really happen. When I bought that 4 70-foot strands, I wound up cutting them into 8 35s, which splice or braided a lot easier, and I'll show you that in a second too. But this is a 7/16 inch rope, and I was pretty much looking at the specs online. You can download a sheet that I'll have in the article where it shows the specs on a mil-spec fast rope, and it's about 1 3/4 inch is the diameter of this thing, and this happens to actually have come out to be 1.75 inches exactly. The way I did that is I actually estimated with paracord, because I started with paracord, which I'll show you. That's how we're going to learn how to do this 4-strand braid. Started with that and measured the diameter of the paracord when it starts and when it finished, and I was able to come up with what diameter of rope I'd need to create a 1.75 inch diameter fast rope. So anyway, now that you kind of know the essentials of kind of what we're getting into here, you don't have to really fast rope with this thing. This isn't really the point. It's to create your own fast rope so you can climb with it, really. If you've ever been in the military around fast ropes and you've had the pleasure of climbing one, it's awesome. I can't tell you how much nicer it is compared to trying to climb up a manila rope and getting splinters in your hand. So if you know the difference between climbing a manila rope and fast rope, you will definitely appreciate this Knot of the Week and how to construct your own fast rope climbing rope. So let's get into it. Let me move this thing out of the way, and I'm going to show you with these 8 pieces of paracord here how we're going to braid this thing. I'm actually going to totally move this off here. Alright, by the way, that thing weighs about 16 pounds, and that's, again, 8 sections of 35 feet. So, anyhow, which came out to 25 feet in the end. But let's get started here. What I'm going to do is do exactly what I did on this fast rope, which, as you can see, I split up. You're essentially making a 4-strand braid, so each of the strands is actually 2 strands itself. So I actually have 4 sections here that are taped together in 2s, which you can kind of see, and then I bundled the whole thing together to start it. And I anchored this somewhere while myself and a buddy were braiding this thing, because you have to have a buddy behind you to unravel the strands and unkink it and all that kind of stuff, because it gets pretty unwieldy, which you'll see with the paracord, and I'll kind of demonstrate that. It took me about an hour and a half, I guess, for just that 35-foot section with a buddy. So someone owes you a favor, definitely take them up on it. So what I'm going to do is cut a couple pieces of electrical tape here so I can bind each of these 2 sections together. And depending on how long this takes me to do here, I may cut this away in the editing phase of this video. But all I'm doing is just bundling each of these together. And I hate electrical tape, but I wanted something thin. And I use two different colors of paracord here just to give some visual difference here when I start wrapping these, so you can see the different the braiding that takes place in the 4-strand round braid. And this is different from a 4-strand flat braid. If you're searching around on the internet trying to come up with what a 4-strand braid is, it's better if you just watch the video, because you'll learn. Alright, so now that I've got all these bundled together in 2s, I'm going to bundle the whole thing together, just so it's easier to work with. So I'm going to try to kind of form this into a round-ish shape, I guess, before I put it all together. Alright, so now we have our 8 strands all together, and we've got 2 different colors here. So a little mnemonic device that I like to use to remember how to do this is 2 behind and 1 in front. And I'm going to try to reverse myself here so you can see this. But essentially you're putting this into 4 different sections, and you're going to work alternating from the outside right and left sides. So the 2 behind is going to come from this direction on the first one, and then after you take that one, you're going to start from the right side. So that's what I mean by alternating. So the first braid, like I said, is going to come 2 behind. So as you can see, it wraps behind 2 strands here, and then 1 in the front. So that second one you come behind, coming from the outside in, you go around the front of. Just like that. Try not to get confused here, doing this backwards. So this one is now going to be worked with, since this is the opposite side. And again, so we have 3 strands hanging down here. So if we're coming from this side, it's only going to come behind 2. So there's the 2 it comes behind. Just like that. And one in the front. So there's our front. And while you're doing this with the rope, it's really a grip workout, because you have to continuously tighten this thing as you go. And that's the hardest part about braiding such thick rope and for so long. That's why you really need a buddy. And you can watch these ends as I weave this. You'll see that they start to get twisted and tangled, and you'll need a buddy to unwrap those. But what's really important here is the lie of the rope. You want this to continually flow in a natural pattern, just like this fast rope. You can see how everything's nice and neat, and it's got a distinct pattern to it. So again, we're going to start from this side, 2 behind, and 1 in the front. You can see that started to get twisted, and I untangled it. This side, 2 behind, 1 in the front, and tighten. 2 behind, 1 in the front. There it's twisting again. So that's what your buddy's job is to continuously make those straight. 2 behind, 1 in the front. And this can become a nightmare as well if you stop and try to start again, because the way the rope lies, I always get confused if I try to pick this up and then start again. 2 behind, 1 in the front. 2 behind, 1 in the front. Just kind of glancing at this, make sure I'm not screwing it up here. Kind of looks like I did, didn't I? Let's start again here. This whole backwards thing is ridiculous. Anyway, let me face this around to the front. Do a couple here. Make sure I'm getting this right here. I want you guys to be able to see this, but at the same time I don't want to be giving you some bad gouge here on how to tie this thing. Okay, I think I was messing it up a little bit here. You make this easier and actually get in front of the camera. Alright, so make sure you can see that. We just came from the right side, so we're going to come from the left and behind 2 and over 1, behind 2, over 1. Make sure that pattern is not twisting in the back there. Make sure you guys can see that too. Behind 2, over 1. And you can see I have to flip that like this to get that back around. For 2, or behind 2, or over 1. And this one, so the tightening is going to be like this. You'll have all these in your hand, you're just going to kind of tighten it up like that as you go. Behind 2, over 1. You can see that twist that's happening right here. That's exactly what your buddy's going to have to undo. Behind 2, over 1. So let's go ahead and stop there. You can kind of see what I'm doing there. I'm just going to tape this up so we don't lose that. Actually, it's not really important. So anyhow, that is your 4-strand round braid, and that's the idea with this thing, is that you're just going to actually braid this thing to make it look just like fast rope. So a little bit easier to practice with paracord. I know I kept doing this for quite a while before I actually had the guts to start with my my big rope. I wanted to make sure I really knew what I was doing with the 4-strand round braid. I know it didn't look like it in the beginning, but doing things backwards on the camera is always weird. But anyhow, like I said, it took about an hour and a half with a buddy while they were straightening out the ends. Good thing to remember is working from alternate sides, behind 2, over 1. That's the pattern you need to remember. So with the consecutive videos in this series on making the fast rope, what we're going to do next time is work on the I-splice. So we're actually going to splice this into each other. And we've done an I-splice on ITS Knot of the Week, ITS Tacticals Knot of the Week before, but never with a 4-strand round braid, so it's going to be a little bit different. So we're going to splice that I in there so that you can just girth hitch this around to whatever you're going to use to climb onto. A beam of a warehouse makes a great way to hang up a climbing rope with a girth hitch and an I-splice. And then in the end, in the third video, so this is the end of the rope and all these tentacle looking things hanging off here. And you can see what the difference is and how these came out on the length, all different kinds of length. But we're going to create a back splice. I haven't really figured out yet. We're either going to do a back splice to this end or we're going to whip it or something like that. Whatever is going to be the most secure is what we're going to do with this rope. Because we definitely don't want it coming unraveled, because it's a nightmare to, to braid again. So anyhow, great grip workout, not only climbing, but making one of these as well. So we'll be back next week with how to create that I-splice in making your own fast rope. It's been an ITS Tactical video. Thanks for watching, and please let us know if you have any questions in the comments. And a special thanks to CENTCOM Survivor in our forum, who suggested the whole topic of making a climbing rope. It's been something we've wanted to do for a long time with a fast rope like this. So thanks again, buddy. Appreciate it.